Hi, once again, this is Nathan Chua and welcome to my YouTube channel. And as you can see on the screen, I'm going to talk about the ACT matrix here. All right. So for those of you who are new to One Life Only Counseling, I am a counselor here in the Philippines. My website is onelifeonly.net. So if you're interested to know more about what I do and how I can be reached, just go to my website onelifeonly.net, and hopefully I can see you one of these days and start working on improving your life. Okay, so now what you have here, for those of you who are new to ACT means acceptance and commitment therapy. That's the therapy that I use. And matrix is just a fancy name for the grid. So you see down here, there's a cross, and then you have the four quadrants. Okay, so this is kind of a simplified version of what it means to work with ACT in your life, or acceptance and commitment therapy. Okay, so let me start this with a question. If you're ever frustrated with anger, anxiety, depression, addiction, hurtful behaviors toward important people in your life, or if you're feeling stuck in life, or stuck in your relationships, or stuck in your career, then this is a very powerful tool that you could use to build more flexibility. We call it behavioral flexibility. Why? Because the opposite of that is behavioral rigidity. So why do we call it rigid? Well, let me give you an example. If you have a problem with anger, then you feel like there's no choice for you to take or to make if someone provokes you into anger, or you have no choice to make if you're anxious or if you're depressed. You can't, if you're anxious, you can't do that talk. If you're depressed, you can't go out for a walk, or you can't do your exercise or do your job. All right. Okay. So that's what we call rigidity. Okay. So, uh, not that we want flexibility all the time, because we're just human. Sometimes, we don't act with flexibility. And if you, as we go along, you would learn how we can develop flexible behavioral flexibility using the ACT matrix. Okay. So what if you and I have a tool that could help us become flexible behaviorally? Okay. So uh, ACT matrix, well, ACT is an approach to therapy, or a model that's being used and very popular nowadays and gaining a lot of interest among researchers, and is one of the most effective so far, based on evidence that has garnered a lot of attention all over the world because of how kind of different it is from the other approaches around. But in a way, it's not really different. It's more about having a scientific backbone to what it is that we do in therapy that makes it work. So it becomes more precise and more complete. All right. Okay. So let's go down to the business at hand. All right. So what do we mean by outside? Okay. So these two quadrants on top represent the outside behaviors that we do, or the overt behaviors that we do. Okay? So, dito sa baba, this represents the inside behaviors that we do. So, in radical behaviorism, we don't just consider, like, let's say you're yelling and screaming at someone. That's outside, right? Because I can see you do it with the camera. Dito sa baba, the inside is when you ruminate, we kind of overthink. That's something we also do, but it's done on the inside, right? Okay. So this one on the right is toward. You see there are arrowheads on both ends. Toward means the things you do that go toward the life you want or the person you want to be or the people you want to be with. Okay, you want to go toward them, right? Or the career that you want to go toward it. Okay. On the left side, dito sa kaliwa, we have away. Away means these are the things we do, away moves that we do that go away from difficult stuff, right? Inner experiences that are hard, all right? Like anger, sadness, anxiety, addictions, urges, all right? Okay. So now that we have this is a kind of a skeletal representation of what ACT means or the ACT matrix is. So let me put down, let's start by asking questions. Down here on the lower, let's start here at lower right. So toward, who could be the people you want to go toward? Okay, maybe your partner or your spouse. Maybe it could be your family, all right? Or it could be a what question. Could be your career or your education, okay? So these are kind of like inner experiences because you and I are right now just imagining, you know, your partner, your family, or your career right now, right? So it's kind of like our own, let's say, compass inside us. All right, this is the way we will where we want to go. We want to go towards our partners, towards our family, towards our career. Okay. Now, on this left side, you have things that we want to go away from. All right. So there's anger, there's fear, and there's anxiety. And of course, we have sadness, or sometimes it could be a thought. All right. Let's say my partner is bad. Okay. So we can put those in quotation marks. Sorry, I wasn't able to put quotation marks. All right, let me just put it there so that it's clear. So I put it in quotation mark because this one is a thought. All right. These are all feelings. All right. Okay. So these are the things that kind of block our way from going towards the people that are important to us. And these are also the things we want to get rid of. We don't want the thought that my partner is bad. Like, okay, partner, why don't you do this for me? So I won't feel that, I won't have this thought that you're bad. Okay. All right. So we don't want these, right? So up here, these are the away moves we do to get rid of the things that are down here. Okay. So one of the more common ones is we either yell or scream at people, right? Okay, I want to get rid of this anger, so let me just yell and scream at you, all right? Or let's say we isolate, all right? I'm anxious about being in a crowd, so I isolate. Or I'm too sad, can't go out, I want to isolate, all right? One thing we also do, we drink, we take in substances or whatever, Okay. Okay. Or sometimes we also do this. We ruminate or worry. Okay. So I put it down here because it's kind of like not really an outside behavior because we can't see you ruminating or worrying, but it's kind of more of a response to this, wanting to get rid of all these. So when we ruminate or we try to problem solve or what we call overthinking, it kind of gives us this impression that, I'm doing a good job here. I'm actually, something like when you're problem solving, you tend to have a feeling that, I'm not so anxious anymore because there's probably some solution that I can uh, go to, so that the anxiety goes away. All right. So these are some of the away moves that we do. All right. Now let's turn to this last quadrant. So if you were going towards your partner, your family, or your career, what would you be doing? So let's make it quick. So let's say you want to spend time. Of course, if I'm with you in the counseling room, I'd ask you, so what is spending time about? What do you do when you spend time? All right. So that's an example of an overt behavior, an outside behavior that you can see. All right. So you can also call, all right, or you can look at job ads or start going to work. Okay. So all of these kind of serve this down here. So if you want to go towards your family, you want to call them once in a while, you want to chat with them, you want to have lunch with them, you want to look for job ads if you don't have a career yet, or you might be actually doing the work that you have been procrastinating on. All right. Okay. So there you go. You have the outside behaviors and the inside behaviors and what you do toward and what you do away. All right. So here goes the fun stuff. Okay. So let's say you're angry. Hold on. Let's say you're angry. And then what do? You go here, right? You yell and scream, right? So that's one way. When you're afraid, you self-isolate, right? Okay. When you're anxious, you drink, right? When you think my partner is bad or I'm sad, then you ruminate or worry, right? Okay. All right. So that's one half of the loop. Now, you're probably noticing that this is going to be a loop. So my question is, when you're angry, you yell and scream. Does that get rid of the anger forever? You're probably answering no. So that means you can still get angry in the future, right? When you isolate, does your anxiety go away? No. So your anxiety comes back. When you drink, does your sadness go away? Probably not. So does the thought that my partner is bad, does that go away when you ruminate or think? No. In fact, the more you think about it, the more your mind gives you thoughts about how your partner, or you struggle with the idea that whether your partner is good or bad. Okay. Okay. So this is what we call the stuck loop. All right. So what we end up doing is we're doing all this and not really spending time or calling or uh, looking for job ads on this side. And this goes into the background. Okay. So what we're trying to develop is somewhere here, down the middle. All right. So down here, there's a you that can watch all this happening. You can see all this. So down here, let me put something here. There's a part of you that's noticing all of these going on. All right. But we don't notice this loop, and we don't notice that we're no longer in touch with what's important, and we're not doing the important stuff. All right. So who's noticing that? Guess who? You. You are noticing this. All these. All right. Okay. Now, the problem is when we're not noticing, we can just go on and on and on and on. We forget about this side because we're not noticing that we're forgetting. All right. So the work of the ACT matrix is to let you know how this all happens. Again, this is not about perfection. You ask yourself a question: in the last 24 hours, how much time did you spend here? How much time did you spend here? So sometimes you end up yelling and screaming, sometimes you isolate, sometimes you drink. But if most of your time is spent over here, then you end up feeling that existential gap, that I'm not being the person, I'm not being the partner, I'm not being the sister, the brother, the son, or I'm not being the engineer or the office worker or the counselor or the zookeeper that I want to be. All right. So the thing is, when you're noticing, you could probably you will, it's for sure, you will have these feelings. All right. Because no one is exempt from these feelings. What we want to lessen are these types of behaviors. All right. And increase some of this so that we go towards this. And then we go looping this way on this side. All right. So we're not going to get rid of this, the away or the difficult inner experiences that we experience. But with this, how do we go towards these behaviors that kind of signify that we are in touch with these here? Your parents, your family, your partner, your kids, or your career. Okay? So that is my briefest way of starting you off with the matrix. And there are so many applications for the matrix. You can apply it to, like I said, anxiety, sadness, anger, even addictions. All right. So I hope you enjoyed this little version of mine of the ACT matrix para sa mga Pinoy out there and also for the international people who are watching. And hopefully this can help you. Oh, by the way, you can also use this for couples. So maybe in some future videos, I'll do that. Okay? Okay, so that's about it for now. I'd like to say goodbye for now and take care and have a good day ahead of you or week or evening ahead of you, wherever you are. And come and visit me at onelifeonly.net. And again, you're seeing this on my YouTube channel. So please do like and subscribe. Okay? See you soon. Bye.